I would like to take a moment to talk about the Warrior Within sponsor. An amazing human being, very talented singer-songwriter by the name of Diane Call. Her album is out now, and it is titled Happy Fish and Other Delights. It contains songs about death, rebirth, and transformation. The album pays tribute to the smallest of warriors, a little goldfish with one fin called Happy Fish, who inspired Diane to start writing songs again. Be sure to check out her music page on Facebook, Diane Call Music, www.facebook.com/DianeCall17. You can also subscribe to her YouTube channel and stay up to date on the latest music video releases, including the one for her first single, Cowboy Church. Hello, and welcome to a special episode of The Warrior Within. I'm your host, Jaime Bennett. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing this goofy baseball cap. Doesn't look that good on me. And I have no makeup. I apologize. It's been a rough few weeks. I'm recovering from a respiratory infection, and we've lost a precious member of our family. My daughter's friend and bunny, Mishima, passed away on Friday, so this episode is dedicated to the memory of our beloved family member and friend, Mishima Bunny. So, also, it's my dad's birthday, and my dad absolutely loves wearing baseball caps. It's one of his favorite things, and he sparked this episode's topic, which is forest conservation and the State Forest Service. Okay, I'm going to take this hat off now. That's better. I look a lot better without the hat, but happy birthday to an incredible human being that I get to call Dad and that my kids get to call Grandpa. Thank you for being amazing. Thank you for all the hard work you've done to help support me. And thank you for just being an incredible human being. Happy birthday, Dad. And I hope you have a wonderful birthday. And I hope all of your wishes come true. This episode's a little different. Viewer discretion is still advised. But it's kind of a lighthearted episode because I'm going to be talking about forest conservation, if I can get that out, forest conservation, the importance of saving our forests and the creatures that reside within the forest and all the wonderful things about the forest. Like I said, my dad worked for the State Forest Service when I was younger, and one of the biggest forest service from where I'm from, which is Southern Illinois, is the Shawnee National Forest. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about it. The Shawnee National Forest is a huge forest system, and you can, go to all the links that are on this page, which you can find at fs.usda.gov/Shawnee. And the reason why I wanted to talk about the Shawnee National Forest Service is because it's a huge forest service. My dad used to work for it, and it spans lots and lots of acres. It's in the southern tip of Illinois, and it lies within the rolling Shawnee Hills, where there is 289,000 acres. Yes, 289,000 acres that await for relaxation and unwinding and exploring. You do not have to spend money on a fancy vacation. You don't have to buy tickets to Six Flags. You don't have to buy tickets to Disney World. You can just get a tent and go camping, spend time with your family out in nature. Nature is awesome. It's wonderful. It brings to me a peace of mind. It's so wonderful to stand out in the middle of the forest, walking a trail, hearing the river rolling, smelling the fresh air, and immersing yourself in nature. Take a camera. You never know what critters you will capture on film. The importance of conserving our forest service, well, think of it if, we don't conserve it and we don't fight to save our trees from being chopped down and we don't fight to save our animals, then what will we have left? You got to think about it this way. We like to breathe, right? Trees provide oxygen, so it's very important to conserve our Forest Service. And my dad worked for the National Forest Service. I always found it to be extremely interesting that he worked for the National Forest Service. He made a lot of the fencing and he did a lot of things working there. It's a worthy cause to conserve our forests. We need to take pride in nature. We need to protect nature because I don't know about you, but I want my daughter growing up and being able to go to the forest service or, a national forest and walk trails and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the fresh air, relax, get away from it all. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. You will be amazed at how peaceful it is walking a trail. It spans 289,000 acres, like I said, and this is the Shawnee National Forest, which is nestled in southern Illinois between the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. It features strikingly beautiful oak hickory forests, flourishing wetlands, lush canyons, razorback ridges, and a unique geological features. A rare convergence of 6 natural ecological regions results in a diversity of plant and animal species. With nearly 1 million people visiting annually, the Forest Service as a retreat to Americans living in urban areas. More than 30 U.S. cities are within a 6-hour drive. They have camping, they have horseback riding, and they have hiking. There are a lot of beautiful scenes in the Forest Service. Like I said, you don't have to go to Disney World. You don't have to go to Six Flags. You don't have to go to the beach. You don't have to do any of that. You can have fun in your local forest, collect leaves, take photos of the creatures that you cross paths with, and go camping, go fishing, go hiking. There's so much that you can do in the Forest Service. Like I said, there is a lot of links on this website. One of the things that I always thought about growing up was Smokey the Bear. And I always thought about him because anytime I would go to the State Forest Service, Smokey the Bear was their mascot. So I'm going to tell you the story of Smokey the Bear because that is important to me and it ties to the Forest Service. Me being a kid growing up, I always was excited to see Smokey the Bear. I know it's crazy, but that was just one of my things growing up. And you can find the story of Smokey the Bear at smokeybear.com/en/Smokey's history/story of Smokey. And this is all in quotations. The orphan cub, one spring day in 1950 in the Captain Mountains of New Mexico, an operator in one of the fire towers spotted smoke and called a location into the nearest ranger station. The first crew discovered a major wildfire sweeping along the ground between the trees, driven by a strong wind. Word spread rapidly, and more crews reported to help. Forest rangers, local crews from New Mexico and Texas, and the New Mexico State Game Department set out to gain control of the raging wildfire. As the crew battled to contain contained the blaze, they received a report of a lone bear cub seen wandering near the fire line. They hoped that the mother bear would return for him. Soon, about 30 of the firefighters were caught directly in the path of the firestorm. They survived by laying face down on a rock slide for over an hour as the fire burned past them. Nearby, the little cub had not fared as well. He took refuge in a tree that became completely charred, escaping with his life, but also badly burned paws and hind legs. The crew removed the cub from the tree, and a rancher among the crew agreed to take him home. A New Mexico Department of Game and Fish ranger heard about the cub when he returned to the fire camp. He drove the rangers home to help get the cub on a plane to Santa Fe, where his burns were treated and bandaged. Rescue news about the little bear spread swiftly through New Mexico. Soon the United Press and Associated Press broadcast his story nationwide, and many people wrote and called asking about the cub's recovery. The state game warden wrote to the chief of the Forest Service offering to present the cub to the agency as long as the cub would be dedicated to a conservation and wildfire prevention publicly program. The cub was soon on his way to National Zoo in Washington, D.C., becoming the living symbol of Smokey Bear. Smokey received numerous gifts of honey and so many letters, he had to have his own zip code. He remained at the zoo until his death in 1976, when he was returned to his home to be buried at the Smokey Bear Historical Park in Captain, New Mexico, where he continues to be a wildfire prevention legend. In 1952, Steve Nelson and Jack Rowlands wrote the popular anthem that would launch a continuous debate about Smokey's name. To maintain the rhythm of the song, they added the between Smokey and Bear. Due to the song's popularity, Smokey Bear has been called Smokey the Bear by many adoring fans, but in actuality, his name never changed. He's still Smokey Bear. So I grew up with that symbol because my dad worked in the State Forest Service, and there are different ecosystems in my home of Southern Illinois. A lot of people wouldn't think about it, but we actually do have wetlands in Southern Illinois. There is a swamp in Southern Illinois, and they do have houses that are up on stilts in that area. And I swear up and down there's probably alligators there. I would not doubt it. I'm not saying that there is, but I'm saying that it is a huge possibility. There could be. But I went to Shawnee Community College and got my Associates of Arts degree. But I did take a lot of science classes there because I absolutely love science. I love biology. I just love science. Absolutely love science. That's why this episode is so extremely important to me. My professor in biology actually goes out to the wetlands, and he goes to the different areas in the different forests. Sometimes he even travels to the Galapagos Islands. He will teach a class in the Galapagos Islands. Pardon me, I'm trying to adjust my legs here. My leg was falling asleep. He teaches classes in the Galapagos Islands. Like, he offers a field trip where I think that they either save up money to go or they have a fundraiser or something. I'm not sure how it works. I don't remember. It's been a minute. I'm not going to tell you how many years since I've been in college, but it's been a good minute. But yeah, they would go to the Galapagos Islands, and he would teach you about the ecosystems there. And I always wanted to go, but never had a chance to go. But he did deal with conservation. He did deal with, taking his students out to like the wetlands and teaching them different aspects of ecosystems, teaching him about wildlife, about nature, out in nature. I absolutely loved taking his classes. That's what sparked my love for biology, and I ended up uh, trying to become a vet tech. I've always loved animals. My dad actually had worked for a vet clinic as well. I guess we just, we love the forest, we love nature, we love animals, and we've just always kind of been in that field. We've always kind of been around that. My dad worked for the State Forest Service, he's worked for the vet clinic. We've always kind of dealt with nature. Growing up, I've always went camping with my mom and dad. I always walked trails with my mom and dad, and we would spend so much time out in nature. We would go fishing, we would go bike riding, we would go hiking. We did a lot of fun family activities, and like I said, you don't have to spend a lot of money to spend time with your family. I'm sure that, kids would get a kick out of seeing the different animals in the forest, seeing the environment of the forest. It's really, really important to preserve our natural surroundings. It's very important to preserve our forests. And it's just forest conservation is is so important. It's extremely important. And I've always breaks my heart when I see them cutting down trees. Here at my own home, I have had, somebody has bought the property next to ours and the woods behind our house, and they have thinned out the woods, and they've they've knocked down a bunch of trees, and one of the trees that they knocked down was my raven Mordecai's tree, which really, really upsets me. He spent a whole entire day griping about it, complaining at me, and it just broke my heart that there was nothing that I could do for him. There was no way that I could help him. We have let the grass behind our fence grow up for a reason, and that's because we have people who shoot. It runs me nuts. They shoot in our woods behind our house, and it sounds like it's so close in range. And I have a raven out there that I'm very fond of. I wouldn't have named him if I wasn't fond of him. And we have deers. We actually have, I wouldn't call them pets, but my husband has been able to pet the female deer that brings her babies back every year for us to see, because she's really proud of her babies and she wants to show us. So I guess she's kind of claimed us. So we've left the grass growing up behind our house, just kind of so that the deer have a place to hide, so that they have a place that they're kind of protected. Plus, the deers like to eat the apples off of our apple tree. And I just, I'm not saying that hunting is bad, but I have never really gotten into hunting because I love animals too much. And I understand that, there is a reason behind hunting. They thin out the deer population, because if the deer population isn't thinned out, then there will be way too many deers, and the ecosystem won't be able to provide for all of them. I understand that. I'm not saying that hunting is a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not for me. I love animals far too much to be able to do that. But for the people who do hunt, please hunt responsibly. Don't be shooting guns behind someone's house. Don't be hunting in a residential area, please. And take precaution, and use common sense when you're hunting. I've heard so many horror stories about hunters being just being haphazard and shooting somebody because they weren't paying attention. Wear bright colors. Make sure you wear reflective tape. Wear bright orange. Make sure that you are visible to other hunters. Just use precaution if you're going to do that. Walking trails, depending on where you're at, like in Georgia, there's black bears. So, just take precaution when you go out hiking and when you go out in nature. Just take precaution. Snakes is a big one. I know there was a place called LaRue Pine Hills. It was part of the Shawnee National Forest Service, and I'm going to bring that up. It is located in Wolf Lake, Illinois, and you can find it probably on the same website. Yeah, it is fs.usda.gov/RECAREA/Shawnee/RECAREA, and you can find it on that website. LaRue Pine Hills is one of the most unique areas in the world. This is in quotation. As with many places in the Shawnee National Forest, the beauty we see today is rooted in geological history. LaRue Pine Hills took millions of years to form its bedrock before nature's erosive forces took over and created the 150-foot limestone bluffs that now rise out of the Mississippi floodplain. The area derives its name from the nearby tiny settlement of LaRue and the distinct short-leaf native pine stands on its bluff tops. These massive bluffs, extending roughly 5 miles along Highway 3, are as impressive today as they were to explorers Lewis and Clark. Yes. Explorers Lewis and Clark in 1803. LaRue Pine Hills' unique physical characteristics dictate and support a rich biodiversity not found anywhere else in the country. In all, the area covers about 4.5 square miles, 3,547 acres, and contains 14 natural communities, including forest, wetland, prairie, glade, and barren ecosystems and geological features. Please help protect this special place for future generations to enjoy. Please study and appreciate. So if you are ever in the Wolf Lake, Illinois region, please check out LaRue Pine Hills. There are a lot of snakes there, and that brings me to my next statement. Don't run over snakes. They're in their road, they're in their natural habitat. Just because you're scared of a snake does not give you the right to kill a snake, especially if it's in its natural habitat. And there are times during the year that LaRue Pine Hills and the surrounding areas is covered with snakes. So always use caution, use precautions, be very careful if you visit the State Forest Service, if you visit LaRue Pine Hills, if you visit nature. Just be careful and use caution. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about LaRue Pine Hills because it's very, very important. I used to work at a factory near LaRue Pine Hills, and that's the reason why I brought up the snakes, because we were right next to LaRue Pine Hills, and there would be copperheads, rattlesnakes, just right outside the factory door. So that doesn't give people a right to kill the snakes. They're just, they're in their natural environment, and sometimes their natural environment encroaches upon human environment, especially if you have a factory that is butted up against La Rue Pine Hills. We wouldn't kill the snakes there. We would just go around them and let them be on their way. We would never bother them. But there has been a time or two that the snake would actually end up in the building. But here we go. The research is a research natural area. It was established to protect a number of special plants, animals, and natural community types. They have set up a bunch of rules and guidelines to help meet the objectives. Restrictions apply to the public use and occupancy of the area. Even though they have these restrictions, a lot of times people will still be stupid. They will still do horrible things, and I really hope that these restrictions deter people from doing stupid stuff. But the following is prohibited: collection, handling, or removal of any snake species. This includes gathering, herding, harassing, or having in possession. Also, to have in your possession collecting equipment unless authorized. The use of horses except on Forest Road 345, overnight camping, building, maintaining, attending, or using a campfire. Gas stoves are allowed. If disturbance or removal of any soil, excavation, stone or material lying upon or contained in the rock or soil of the area, cutting, killing, destroying, injuring, or removing living vegetation, taking or killing of any animal, bird, fish, reptile, or amphibian except for game species as defined and permitted by Illinois state laws, conducting certain activities such as research projects, tours, group visits, etc., which the Forest Service has not approved in writing. To possess or use motorized or non-motorized vehicles and cycles off-road using a gas-powered motorized watercraft. Electric trolling motors are allowed. Rappelling or rock climbing. Abandonment of garbage brought to La Rue Pine Hills. Establishment of commercial enterprises, construction of any improvements, establishment of permanent or semi-permanent camps, or erection of structures. Temporary waterfowl blinds are permitted but must be removed at the end of each hunting day. So yeah, they do a lot of hunting in the area. And they have certain, roads that you're allowed to take, certain areas that you're allowed to travel upon. But yeah, I wanted to talk more about La Rue Pine Hills because it is a very interesting area. If you ever get a chance to visit Wolf Lake, or if you're ever in that area, I suggest checking out Shawnee National Forest Service. I suggest checking out La Rue Pine Hills. There are so many interesting things. There's also Giant City National Park, which is located near Carbondale, Illinois. It's a beautiful, beautiful location. There are so many natural wonders in Southern Illinois that you could visit. I've been to so many interesting places in Southern Illinois, so many beautiful places in Southern Illinois, and it's got different ecosystems. It has rolling hills, it's got wetlands, it's got so much to offer. The State Forest Service and the Forest Service needs to be protected at all costs. I don't know about you, but I kind of like to breathe. I'll just put it that way. I like breathing. I really like having oxygen in my lungs. And the more people cut down our woods, cut down our trees, cut down our forests, the less oxygen we'll have, the less fresh air that we will have, because trees are awesome. They provide oxygen and they help. And I don't know about you, but going out in the middle of the woods and walking trails and breathing the fresh air and hearing the creek bubbling or hearing the river roll is so relaxing. It's so very, very peaceful. And if you're having stress in your life, if you're stressed out from your everyday job, when you get a day off, drive to your local forest and hike a trail. Breathe in some fresh air. It'll do you a lot of good.